BMRForum.com and BMROdds.com, boys. What is going on? Welcome back, episode number 128 of The Lobby, moving right along each and every week. Mr. Donnie Rightside. What's up, Donnie?
Hey, feeling good. Another week in the NFL here, another college football playoff report that seems bunk, but things will work themselves out, of course, and pretty before you know it, next week is Turkey Day. Can you believe it? Thanksgiving already, next Thursday? My favorite holiday by far, boys, by far.
Yes. Well, speaking of that, Reload, I mean, my favorite is probably, at least growing up, it was always Christmas. We have Donnie's favorite holiday. Jump over to Reload. Reload, how's it going? And what is your favorite holiday and why?
Oh, yeah. Well, favorite holiday? Geez. I don't know. I kind of like New Year's Day because you kind of just have it to yourself and kind of get set for the rest of the year. And I'm more of a New Year's Day guy than a New Year's Eve guy. I think that's always a good one for me.
All righty. And last but not least, Mr. Sam's in charge. What's up, Sammy? And what's your favorite holiday?
Yeah, it's a good question that you threw that on the spot. But yeah, big week. Donnie and I battling Eagles versus Cowboys 4:30 on Sunday.
I'm not feeling good.
We'll see what happens there. Cowboys at the home game. We'll talk about that. But favorite holiday, I don't know. Maybe as an adult and in college would have been Halloween. I get to dress up, easy excuse to party. I got some great stories from Halloween and the good, bad, and the ugly from Halloween. So I don't know. Halloween's definitely a top three holiday, I would say, for me.
One of my favorite costumes. Not many people know this. I'm sure some of you guys do. But one of my favorite costumes from Sammy is as he's Gumby every year.
Yep, that is one of my favorites. That is one of the good, bad, and the ugly all in one night. I met one of my college girlfriends that night. I was in a Gumby outfit. She was Mrs. Potato Head. We basically were talking through the outfit. Then we took the hat off just to confirm what we thought we already knew. And then, that was a night. I was at the frat house. I remember I woke up the next morning. She wasn't in my bed. She was in the couch outside the room because she forgot which room was mine. And then,
That's nice.
What a
great start. Great start to a wonderful relationship.
But Donnie, congratulations, 7-0 last week. Great job. Let's dive into it.
Yeah, and dive into this. I got my head bashed in on Sunday with prop bets and then turned around and went 7-0 on side bets there. So that's just the evolution of a gambler and how you can't have nice things sometimes. Who would have thought that I would go 7-0 and probably end up losing juice money on the weekend? That's exactly what happened for me. But sometimes it just works out in your favor. You figure once out of the 17, 18 weeks that you have, you're going to catch a nice little run. And sometimes when you check in those bets, when the games are all like, oh my goodness, that's right. I thought I had the Buccaneers and I actually had the Buffalo Bills in that. So first inclinations sometimes are better than the revised efforts on Sunday morning. It was just a good week, man. 7-0. I'll take that every time on sides.
Exactly right. Reload. Let me jump over to you. How was last week for you in the NFL?
Yeah, mostly pretty good. I did lose that clunker with the Washington Commanders game in Europe. Boy, that was brutal to even watch, let alone lose. But also lost with Minnesota. But I did win with the Jaguars outright there. The Browns also cashed by a hook over the Ravens. And also the undergods showed up for the Chiefs-Broncos low-scoring under, and that cashed as well. So overall, a winning week and looking forward to this week. A lot jumping out.
Awesome. And last but not least, Sammy, how was it for you last weekend, buddy?
Yeah, not bad for me. I went 4-3. I had 17 points. Also, I was in Cleveland last week, so anyone following that thread saw I was in Cleveland. Got to saw Shador come in the game, and it was horrible, absolutely horrible. But the crowd was certainly loving it. They have a lot of hype and a lot of hope for Shador in Cleveland. But, yeah, they're a bad, bad team. But they did get the cover. But, yeah, going over the records last week, again, shout out Donnie, 7-0, 28 points. Also jumped him up to 11th overall in the rankings. So he mentioned a couple weeks ago he's slowly creeping up the leaderboard. As I'm slowly creeping down, I'm sitting there in 25th. But, last week, Bacardi Artie had 25 points in fourth place, and then you had two guys with 26, Machiavelli and R.W.D. Baco with 26 points. And then that overall leaderboard, again, Donnie's at 11th. You got three guys at fourth place with 186, Mike 1234, J.R. Groom and Miami Vice, Polo GQ at 189, Bacardi Artie at 193, and Try, keeping his name on top of the leaderboard with 206, a 13-point lead.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Sam. I did see a lot of the pictures from the Cleveland trip. Real quick, let me get like a minute or so of how everything went overall.
Yeah, everything was good overall. I mean, to be honest, I went to the NFL Hall of Fame. It wasn't the most thrilling. I took my sweet ass time, read everything, and it took 3 hours. You can easily fly through there in 2 hours. It's pretty cool how up to date they are, with the Greg Little jersey that they had in there after he kicked the 68-yard field goal. That was already in the Hall of Fame. So that's cool. But there wasn't really a lot of interactive stuff, just like a lot of small displays where you can listen to a headset for a couple calls or coaches and stuff. Again, it wasn't horrible, but it wasn't like the best, the best Hall of Fame in the world. I definitely thought the NASCAR Hall of Fame was better than the NFL Hall of Fame. If you haven't been there in 10, 15 years, go. But if you've been there in the last decade, you don't, in my opinion, you don't need to go every couple years. But yeah, the basketball game was great. The Cavs were down by 8 in the fourth quarter and they came back and won. And then the Browns game was exciting. Again, they weren't a good team, but it's always good to go to a live game. I don't do that. I do it once a year. My brother doesn't do it. So it's cool for us just to go for a weekend. Went to Niagara Falls as well for about an hour. So cool just to get away, cool just to leave work. I'm a very routine guy. I like to stick by my routines. So it's good to break it for a couple of days, but good to be back.
Awesome. And real quickly, I know you posted the pretzel and then that pizza. I mean, my opinion, pizza looked like shit. It was burnt. It wasn't a pizza I would ever eat.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. It was actually a very good, crispy. It was a wood fire, it was a wood fire pizza.
They left it the wood fire
right in front of you. And yeah, there was a nice crisp to it and good flavor.
Check it out. I got to check the picture out.
Yeah, I just had a 4 cheese, nothing crazy, but yeah, I really enjoyed it.
What other restaurants did you hit when you were over there?
I just hit a brewery and then basically just had stadium food. We hit up a local bar in Canton. And then it was funny. We went to the same brewery on Sunday pregame. We tried to go to another bar. There was 35 people in front of us waiting. So we knew that we had no chance. And we went to the bar at 12 o'clock for a 4:30 game. But again, you're in Cleveland, 10 minutes away. Where my hotel was, there was a 10-minute walk to the NBA game and a 15-minute walk to the NFL stadium. Right. It was perfect.
Wow, you walked to both? That's great.
Yeah, able to walk to both. Yeah,
that's great.
Awesome. Well, Donnie, speaking of basketball and NBA, what do you got tonight?
Yeah, let's take a look at some NBA action tonight. And, trying to be unbiased myself here, this morning did a video for BMR. I actually like the Toronto Raptors. The early favorite is the Philadelphia 76ers at -1.5. That's now swung to as high as 2.5 out there. I got it at -1 this morning. So I'm going to take the Raptors on the road against the Philadelphia 76ers. And then this one is getting away. I had the Miami Heat this morning. It was 4.5. It went to 6.5. I grabbed the 6.5. It's up to 10.5 at some spots now because Golden State Warriors are on a back-to-back, which basically means nobody's going to play. I was worried that maybe I missed the line at 6.5. It would sort of stay at 6 or 5.5 with a buyback. But this line's gotten out of control. So I got CLV tonight. But we all know that doesn't mean anything unless those tickets cash. But for me, it's Toronto. Got them at -1. They're roughly -2.5. And the Miami Heat at -6.5. They're now up to 10.5 at some spots here. So we'll see what happens tonight, but that's my 2.
All righty. Thank you, Donnie. And real quick, here is that pizza right there.
Yeah, let me see that.
That's funny. I was about to.
Yeah, I'm not, too much. And what is this? What the hell is that thing on there?
It's cheese.
It looks a little bit weird to me. It looks a little bit.
It's more cheese you got. What type of pizza was it?
When I first looked at the picture, I said, "What the hell is that?" And so I don't like the burnt edges. Those bubbles. They look good.
I do like the burnt edges. I do like the bubbles, but I don't know. I don't know.
And then that pretzel looks amazing. It didn't switch to it. I don't know why it didn't switch to it.
Yeah, I like a good pretzel.
That pretzel does look amazing. How do I get off of this? Oh, here we go. Sammy, NBA, what do you got?
Yeah, so NBA action. I'm with Donnie. I as well like Toronto over the 76ers. I'm going to take a couple of the ESPN games tonight. Houston is going to take on the Cavaliers in Cleveland. That's a 1-point pick 'em. I'm going to go pick Houston over the Cavs. The other late game, I don't know if you saw, the Knicks actually play on ESPN tonight. So it would be an injustice for me not to bet on the Knicks while they're on national TV, right? So I got to take the Knicks over the Mavs.
Of course you do.
Without Anthony Davis, he never plays. And then how about some of the spreads right now? I mean, Oklahoma City is a dominant defending champion. Shai is barely even playing fourth quarters. They're an 18-point favorite. Holy cow, that's a big spread. And then the Timberwolves as well are 16-point favorites. I mean, there's no point in touching those spread, at least for me. But that just to comment on, you have a couple spreads that are normal. Pick'ems, 2-point, 3-point. The Knicks are 7-point, but 18 and 16. That's a big number in the NBA.
That is a big number for sure. And Donnie, here's that pretzel.
Yeah, you can't. I love pretzels, man. I love the different dipping sauces for it, man. Like the pretzel for me is such a good, even like appetizer. Like if you're a beer drinker, beer and a pretzel, probably nothing better than that. But I'll find myself going to restaurants and it's like, okay, where's the apps at? And they got the beer pretzel. Getting that every single time. I don't care. I love pretzels.
And then I go to the stadium and what am I getting? Bavarian pretzel and glizzies. You know what I mean?
Gotta do it. Gotta do it.
Reload. How's the NBA? What do you got tonight?
Yeah, well, I posted my loaded 5 for the NBA tonight. I'm also involved in the Warriors Heat game, and I got a bad number with the Warriors at +6.5 before it went up. We'll see what happens with those lineup changes and the injuries. I do think Warriors, though, off a loss, will still try to give an effort here in Miami after losing in Orlando last night. I also did take the Heat Warriors under 234.5 as well. We talked Knicks and Mavericks. I am going with the Mavericks +7.5. They've been pretty solid as a home dog this year. And I also took the Knicks Mavericks under 230.5. And finally, for the 5th pick, I'm going with the Portland Trailblazers in the bailout late game +2.5 at home to the Bulls. A tough spot for both teams there. I believe it's 3rd game in 4 nights for both teams. And Portland's on a back-to-back. But I think they have more in them than the Bulls will after some of the road games that they've had lately. So it's the Blazers +2.5 late there.
All righty, Reload. Thank you. And quick birthday shout out to the one, the only JD.
Hey,
looks like a fucking stud. He's
Miami.
Stud in this picture.
He's got a Miami cup, though. He's all right, though. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Miami cup. All right.
Happy birthday, JD.
Jim Tan Laundry, JDS. Have a great day. I know he's going to hang out with his son, successful 19-year-old son. He's got a business that he said that he's pretty successful at, which is awesome. So hopefully he gets to treat himself to a nice Miami dinner, a nice Miami hooker.
Exactly right. He says he doesn't do the whole hooker scene. Who knows if that's true? But
and in Miami, right?
Well, exactly right. But like guys, I will be announcing a thread here shortly, probably either later today or tomorrow. Our poker tournament event championship final event will be coming in early December. Not going to do anything next week with Thanksgiving, so it'll be coming early in the week of December. If you guys think that you made it to the tournament champions and don't receive a message from me, please let me know and I will correct that. And I hope to announce the next Poker Tournament of Champions event, the whole event series, here pretty soon. But Sammy, let me jump back over to you. Let's talk some college football. How was last weekend for you, and what do you got upcoming?
Yeah, last week wasn't too bad. Again, I basically hit a lot of the national TV games, a lot of the top 25s. When I don't follow it as much, especially when I'm working all day, it's hard for me to follow some of the smaller conferences and the MACtion and stuff like that, unless I'm looking for degenerate action. But Georgia took care of business at home against Texas. Another bad loss for Texas. Oklahoma on the road upset Alabama. That was a pretty exciting game. And then how about Texas A&M? I was able to, it was kind of cool because we ended the NFL Hall of Fame right around 12-ish, went to the bar. We watched the first half. It was about an hour drive back. And then we were able to watch late third, fourth quarter for Texas A&M down 30-3 at halftime and then scored 28 points to win 31-30. I saw a lot of people actually taking at like plus 500, plus 600, plus 700, depending on what book you were at. But that was a pretty exciting comeback. Good for Texas A&M. And then looking at this week, there's actually not a lot of captivating matchups in reference to top 25, not even any top 10 matchups. The best matchup maybe on paper is USC and Oregon. Maybe, that's number 15 at number 7. But then again, Oregon's minus 10 there. I do like Oregon to take care of business at home. I like Michigan minus 13.5 over Maryland. And then you got to take Duke over Carolina, right? College basketball. We're starting to get the early sense of college basketball, that biggest rivalry. And, UNC stinks. Duke's not too much better, but, Duke over UNC, anytime you can take that, of course, as a Duke fan, you're going to take them over UNC. And then lastly, I like Tennessee in the 7:30 matchup on the road against Florida.
All righty. Thank you, Sammy. Donnie, over to you. College football. How was last weekend? What do you got upcoming?
Decent sides, though, 1-2 last week. I was wrong with Texas. I thought they might be able to hang around. And when I went to sleep in the third quarter, they were hanging around Georgia until they got their doors blown off in the fourth quarter. But I'm going to play the college football playoff sort of angles coming into this week. Miami on the outside looking in right now. They're the placeholder right now. They need some miracles to happen. But the one thing they can't let happen is Virginia Tech to stay close to them. Miami's a 17.5-point favorite. They know every single point matters at this point. I'm going to lay the 17.5 with the Hurricanes on the road against Virginia Tech. Same thing, Texas and Arkansas. Texas still does have a slim chance somehow if they can win big this week and then knock off number 3 next week in Texas A&M. So they understand that 8.5, every point matters for them. They need a double-digit victory. I'm going to bet that. And then Syracuse and Notre Dame. Notre Dame and Miami are going to get into a fight of, we both have 2 losses. Miami beat you, but we're a couple steps ahead. They understand they can't slip up against Syracuse. Look at that line, though. 35.5. Instead of taking the side, I'm going over 50.5. Syracuse, just give me 2 touchdowns. Notre Dame will handle the rest. So the angles I'm playing this week are now that we see coming down the stretch in college football and the playoff, these teams have to win big. So extracurriculars, forcing touchdowns when you might not need them, they're going to try for them this week.
All righty. Thank you, Donnie. Reload, over to you. College football. What do you got? And how was last weekend?
Yeah, last week, pretty mixed results. Lost with Louisville in the Friday game. Cincinnati lost. UCF never had a chance. And Mississippi State lost too. But cashes with Iowa over USC at the windows. Northwestern, Florida, and also the Oklahoma-Alabama under came in. Boy, that was a tight one. Needed like no scoring in the last 12 minutes for that to cash. So that was a good one. This week, a lot going on. I'm liking some of these weeknight games coming up, including tonight. Kent State plus 8.5 against Central Michigan. Nice home dog play here. Kent State beat Akron in overtime last week. I also like the under 50.5 in that one. Tomorrow night on Thursday, we got the Louisiana Ragin' Cajuns plus 119 money line at Arkansas State. Another degenerate matchup there. Mm-hmm. The Cajuns 3-0, straight up as a dog of 4 points or less. Arkansas State favored only once and lost this year. Then we get to Friday night, and a couple of big games I like there. North Carolina State Wolfpack in the house plus 4.5, hosting FSU. And we got Hawaii making the trip to Vegas at UNLV in a marquee spot here for Hawaii, plus 123 money line. They've had 2 weeks to get ready for this. They were off last week. So even though they have to travel to the mainland, I think they'll be really ready for this one. And I think we'll even see a lot of Hawaii fans there in Vegas. It's often been called the sixth island or whatever it is.
Ninth island.
Ninth island. That's how much I know, and I've been to Hawaii. All right. And Saturday, there's lots jumping out at me. There's about 8 games I'm looking at. I'm going to have to narrow them down and post a loaded 5 for Saturday come Saturday morning. So look for that on the forum.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Reload. And, you brought up the Hawaii UNLV game of this weekend out here in Vegas. You know what else is out here this weekend? F1. F1 is in Vegas. I was looking at the ticket prices earlier. Tony, you'll get a kick out of this one. Saturday for the actual race itself. I'm not counting Thursday qualifying, not counting Friday practice. Saturday for the race itself, you can get in for $386. And you know what? That doesn't even get you a seat. It does not get you a seat. It's general admission, standing room only, and closed circuit access.
Yeah, it's not really for the public, it seems like, because every time I read about it, even like the ones in Miami, it's like, okay, you get a reserved seat here, but if you want to eat, it's going to be $500 for the 2 chicken fingers and the fry platter, and you get a small flute of champagne at that point. Enough with that. If you want to make it all inclusive, where people like to go to Vegas for big events, include the public in those events. Like, you see the prices of the rooms are probably triple jacked up as well. Everything is more expensive. To me, it's like you're doing it wrong. If you're bringing everybody to town with F1, F1's going to make money, but the city wants to make money as well. And also, Bobby, you're out there driving around. All I keep hearing is it's so hard to drive in the traffic. It's like, okay, it's game week. Like, no, not game week. It's like months in advance, the preparations, and it just ruins the entire experience for one weekend that tries to price everybody out of it. Like when the Super Bowl comes to town, yes, the rooms are higher price, but everybody's out and about. Nothing's prohibited there. You can walk all around, and it's supposed to be a party atmosphere because everybody can watch, everybody can participate. Doesn't seem like that for F1.
No, it's not. They're trying to draw a lot of people from overseas. That's what it's primarily targeted at. And they're also trying to draw a lot of celebrities, and they're trying to, like you said, and you hit the nail right on the head, Donnie, they're trying to outprice themselves. It's not for the normal.
Well, what you do is you just walk up and down the escalator. Then you can kind of cheat your action. You know what I mean?
Yes. I remember reading and seeing people doing that in years past because, for the people who aren't familiar, there's a lot of pedestrian walkways here in Vegas where you have to actually walk above the strip. And what F1 did, they take black mostly black tarp, and they cover the view so you cannot walk along the walkways and stop and watch the race. And I remember seeing in years past, they actually had people stopping when anybody would stop to try to view the race. They would actually have people up there saying, you got to move along, you got to move, you can't stay here, you can't. It's ridiculous the lengths that they try to go to. Hopefully there'll be a busy weekend out here. Surprisingly, I thought, I was driving a little bit earlier today. I thought it'd be a little bit busier with people coming into town. It doesn't seem like that, unfortunately. So it doesn't bode well for how the weekend is going to go. But Donnie, let me jump over to you. Week number 12 in the NFL. What do you got this upcoming weekend? What do you got for your 7?
Yeah, this is a little bit tougher. Like I always like to pick my games out early in the week and then sort of like simmer over them. Last week it worked out well, 7-0, going a couple public fades to have at it. But this week, settled on a couple games to start early. I'm going to take the Chicago Bears over the Pittsburgh Steelers. I understand Mason Rudolph was decent in the second half in that last game, but 2 defensive touchdowns sort of led to that big victory over Cincinnati. Aaron Rodgers is going to try to practice Friday with a broken wrist and play. I don't know how that's going to work out. And also Jaylen Warren banged up as well. Give me the Bears minus 2.5. I think they win this game outright and certainly can cover the 2.5 points to win by 3+. Also, the Baltimore Ravens are taking on the Jets. Tyrod Taylor is going to be the quarterback. That should help them a little bit, but I just feel like this is one of those games where it's a get-right game for the Ravens, 30-13 type final, 17-point win. I'm going to lay that heavy number, which usually say, just give me the points and take it away. I think they get bashed in that one. Packers and the Vikings. Not happy with the Packers, how they're executing right now. Not happy with the Vikings, but it is a divisional game. Packers probably win in a 1-score game, but I'll take the 6.5 points. I thought McCarthy was terrible last week. If he's average this week, they should be able to hang around and play with the Packers, who almost got beat by the New York Giants and Jameis Winston last week, as the Giants had a fourth-quarter lead with under 8 minutes to go. I'm going to fall into the trap in this one, though. I'm taking the Colts plus 3.5. The Chiefs let me down last week out of moneyline parlay. They just had to win to cover that parlay. They end up losing that game. The Colts coming off a bye, but why are the Colts getting 3.5 points if we think they're the better team? Maybe it's a last stand out there at Arrowhead. I'm going to fall for the trap early in the week. Give me the Colts at 3.5 to hang around. How about this one, Sammy? Taking the Cowboys, getting 3.5. I don't care what I saw against the Raiders, and that doesn't change my mind. It's the way the Philadelphia Eagles are playing. Yes, the Packers are good. Yes, Detroit's good. Yes, the defense was fantastic. But the Eagles might be coming into this game down 2 offensive line starters. The Cowboys should be able to hang around. The Cowboys always play the Eagles tough, particularly in Dallas. I'll take the 3.5 points with the Cowboys early in the week. I'm going to lay it 6.5 with the Rams. Whoa, the Buccaneers getting 6.5 points. Yeah, they were getting 6.5 points last week, and everybody loved them. And they got beat. Rams by a touchdown. And then Monday night, give me the Panthers to hang around with the Niners, getting 7.5 there. Give me a little Bryce action in the backfield. Give me a little Tet on the outside at wide receiver. I think they can hang in that game with a little Rico Dowdle splashed in.
All righty. Thank you, Donnie. Reload, over to you. What do you got this weekend in the NFL?
Yeah, a lot coming up this week. I'm first off on Thursday, I'm liking the Texans +6 against the Buffalo Bills. I don't like too many Thursday games usually, but that one's jumping out at me. Some good value there. Sunday, I'm liking Donnie touched on Packers Vikings. I do like the Vikings +6.5 there. I also like the Arizona Cardinals as a home dog +3 to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Even though I had the Jaguars last week, I think they traveled to Arizona to lose in this spot. Falcons +2 at the Saints. It's now or never here for the Falcons. It's a winnable game. I think they win that one in New Orleans. Also, as a home favorite, the only favorite I really like this week, Kansas City Chiefs. You can get that right now at Bet105 on the alt line at -3, -112 instead of laying -3.5 on a lot of boards right now. Kansas City Chiefs hosting the Colts. I think, speaking of get-right games, I think this is the get-right game for the Chiefs after losing in Buffalo, losing in Denver. I think it's the right place, right time to really pick up the slack here and get the win. And we know the Colts have been weaker on the road. They have blown some road games, the Steelers and such. So I'm looking for KC to bounce back as my only favorite of the week so far here.
All righty, Reload. Thank you. And last but not least, Sammy, what do you got for your 7?
Yeah, being the third guy, I'm pretty much touching on a lot what Donnie and Reload said. I'm with Donnie. I like the Ravens to smoke the Jets at home. Really, the only reason why Cleveland stood in that game was a weird pick 6. Other than that, Cleveland stunk. Ravens pretty much dominated, so they should take care of business at home. I like the Bears -2.5 home to the Steelers. Are the Bales for real? I mean, they're 7-3. They keep winning the one-possession games, and it's funny because Kansas City is 0-5 in one-possession games, and they're 5-5. In a must-win game, a 1 o'clock game, which is, looking at it, could be the game of the week, but it's going to be a 1 o'clock game. It's a playoff game for Kansas City. Right now, they're out of the playoffs. They're still favored to win the AFC just because the books don't want to, raise their lines and then be caught in case they come back. But this is the playoff game, and then is Daniel Jones for real? So this is one of those huge tests for Indianapolis on the road, especially coming off a bye. I like the Patriots to take care of business against the Bengals. The Bengals offense hasn't been great, and now they're not going to have Jamar Chase for spitting, game suspension. So I think the Patriots take care of business. Should I be taking the Eagles against Dallas? Kind of like a reverse psychology, because I always take Dallas, even though they did cover last week. They're doing a good job of covering against the Eagles, but maybe for 1 point, maybe I'll just take the Eagles as a reverse psychology. And then again, I agree with Donnie. I like the Rams on Sunday night, and I like the Panthers +7.5. One of my favorite lines is that +7.5 with the backdoor cover potential, just to keep it close against the 49ers. Are the Panthers for real? I guess another test for them.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Sam. And I always like when the group is consensus on some of these picks. So watch out.
Well, especially with Donnie going 7-0. We'll keep the momentum going.
Let's go. No 0-7s. No 0-7s. Let's keep it going, man. Let's go.
Exactly right. But thank you, gentlemen, and good luck on all the action this upcoming weekend, guys. And we will see you on the forum.
See you.
Peace.